Hi, hello. Welcome to Between the Lines. This is a new YouTube channel where two best-selling writers, myself and my friend Diana Farrell Francis, talk about the writing life, what we do, tips that we've picked up along the way, just kind of letting you take a peek behind the curtain and see how the lives of two working writers goes about. So we're going to start today. This is our first episode. You're going to see us trying things and we'll find out if it works or not. We're going to start today by talking about, well, first by introducing ourselves, and then we have a subject. So let's just go to the introducing part. To you, Diana.
Yay!
Yay.
It's good to try this out. We've been talking about it for a little while, and I'm really happy we're getting going with it. Anyways, I am Diana Farrow Francis, and yes, that is honestly my middle name and my real name. Um, and I have written 25, 26 books now, I guess. Mostly novels, mostly urban fantasy, some traditional fantasy, and as we've said, we're both bestsellers, and and we're really eager to kind of talk about what we do, but in a way that's we want to be conversational, and we want to just kind of give you a little peek into our lives as we write. I think is the main thing.
Yeah, I think
And
it's going to be fun. We want to share, share this journey, and maybe you're at a similar place in your journey, or maybe you're at a different place than we're at. But, the thing about writers is it feels like we're all traveling parallel roads. Like we're never exactly following the exact same path, but it's so great to kind of look over at a parallel road and be like, oh, I see a signpost over there. Maybe I'll turn left. It's like,
and
and that's kind of what this is about, is sharing those kinds of things.
and readers never get to, well, no, I won't say never, this is the age of video after all, but I don't know how often readers get to kind of poke behind, and we're hoping to do some of these where you get to ask some questions, or anytime you want to ask questions we'll try to answer them.
Yep, put them
And
down in the
so
comments. We will read all the comments and we will reply to is hopefully we'll have so many it'll take just hours and hours to reply.
right, right, and hopefully over this time you'll get to know us, because there's a lot to know, there really is.
Yeah,
Devon, tell us
we
about you.
okay. My name is Devon Monk, and I am also a best-selling writer. I started out in short fiction, and then I started writing novels in like 2006 or so. It's a long time ago. Every time I say that, I'm just like, so
You want to
long
grab the
ago,
cane.
right? So I've written a series for traditional publishing in New York, and I'm indie publishing now, mostly out of choice. Both of us are doing a lot of indie publishing, and that's a lot of what we'll be hitting on here. How can you do this on your own too, without experts in the traditional publishing field? Where can you find experts in the independent, the indies or self-pub field? So yeah, for me, just fantasy writer. Started my novels in urban fantasy, and I've done some Weird West steampunk and some science fiction and some, I don't know, fairy tales and that kind of stuff. So kind of a mishmash, but always
Can I just
fantasy.
say, in her weird Wild West, two-headed Ned
Two-headed Ned. Yeah, no, those that's in
is
the
one of my
sci-fi. Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah, two-headed Ned. Yeah. He's a good character. They're a good character. Anyway, so here we are today. Thank you for coming to our first episode. I think what we talked about, and really we've sort of done this on a, we're just going to dive in here, people. I'm glad you're diving in with us. We're going to start by talking about how we start our writing during the day or whenever we get to it. So, Di, how do you start your writing?
Well, I want to say that part of this was sparked by a writer friend of ours saying um, that she starts her day at the computer in her pajamas, which I'm all for, right? Um, but she starts by doing email or things like that, administrative stuff, right? And my I got to be honest, my response was, "Oh, how?"
But
I
why? Why are you so, yeah.
Yeah, because okay, so this is my office space, right? And you can't see it, but eventually we'll show you more probably. Um, and I actually, under my desk, have a space for dogs, and out here, a space for dogs, because my dogs follow me everywhere. So that's part of my morning ritual, is petting all the dogs and playing with the dogs before I come in here. But that said, I for a long time, one of the things that was happening was my desk was being covered by things that were not writing related. So I have moved everything non-writing related off my desk. Now there's, yes, there's a ton of stuff over here, books, and okay, there's a lot of tchotchkes too, but they make me happy and feel creative. But the thing is that when I get my chai, I love chai, or I get my mocha latte or something like that. And I sit down, and the first thing I need to do is open the manuscript and start digging in. If I go and look at mail, if I look at headlines, if I look at anything else, I will lose a lot of time. And by lose a lot of time, what I mean is just it just goes away. It vanishes. Before long, I've just completely lost track and I haven't written anything. And so when I start in the morning, and morning is sort of iffy because of various health issues and this sleeping pill my doctor makes me take sometimes so that I actually sleep sometimes. It doesn't sometimes kick in until like 8 in the morning, and then I sleep till noon, which if I'm gonna sleep, then that's good. So then I get up and that starts my day. So it's not necessarily morning, but what can you do? We're writers. We can write
You can
anytime
write
we
anytime
want
you want. Yeah. There's no, we don't have writing
to. No
rules for, there's
stinking
no police telling
schedule.
us when we can write.
That'd be funny. The writing police. What kind of uniforms would they
Just
have?
pop up out of the cushion.
And with like the batons would be big pencils and hitting us on the
Get
head
back to
with the
your work.
rubber.
I could use a writing police sometimes.
Kidding. And then turn the end around and prod at us. Right, 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 right. So that's basically how I start my morning. And of course, over time, things have changed. And that isn't necessarily how it used to be when I was working full time at a different job. But that is now the way I need to start. And so how do you start your morning? Of course, you have a lot different life going on right now.
Right now, right. So my life's changed a little bit. I was writing full time for quite a while, and then I have a grandkid now, which is wonderful. But I'm also doing childcare, which means that my writing time has gotten narrowed down. I have less of it than if I just on a whim want to take all day to write, 200 words or something. I'm not quite in that space anymore, and so I'm needing to make my writing time count. So um I really didn't want to do this because I'm not an early morning person, but I'm starting to get up.
Nobody
What?
wants to get up that
Nobody wants,
early.
some people do. Some people
I
pop up so
know.
happy in the morning and yeah, but not me. I'm not like that. I like to roll into the morning at a reasonable hour, but I found that I need to get up before anybody else in my house does. And I also need to get up before anything else, any other emergency lands and get some writing done early. So I try to get up at 5. 5 is not my favorite hour. I'm not good at it, but I can very consistently get up at 6. I set the coffee pot, or my husband does, so that it's ready in the morning. I grab some coffee. I come into the office, this office. I sit down. I open up the manuscript and I remind myself where I was and kind of look through it and where I'm going, because right now I'm actually putting notes about what next scene needs to happen at the bottom of my work. And then I'm going to be real honest. I go check Blue Sky, and then I go check like Facebook, and like I do a little bit of just like goofing around looking at stuff, 10 minutes the most, and then I'm back at the writing again.
But you're pretty disciplined about that 10 minutes or so. And
Yeah,
my problem is one thing leads to another thing leads to another thing. And the next thing I know, it's been a half hour
right.
or more. And then and I lose more time than I should.
I do that too, and I think even especially the longer I write during the day, if I have a full day of writing, I will do that more as time goes on because I'm fatigued. My mind is saying, "Hey, writing is hard. Go do something that's more fun." I'm trying to move away from the work part of it. But in the morning, I always feel like I'm desperate for an hour in the morning to get even an hour of writing it. And if I goof around with coffee and 10 minutes, now I've got like, 50 minutes or 45 minutes for my hour. So, I can see it whittle down because it's such a short amount of time. So, yeah. And I have tried doing things like take the laptop into bed with me and sit in bed and write instead. And I don't know. It doesn't work as well. It works okay when I'm off on my own, like at a writing retreat or something, but less good at home. So
Yeah, it does. That doesn't work for me at home too, and that's partly because um, 2 out of 3 dogs sleep on the bed, and then my husband's there. And let's face it, you're in bed. You want to be snuggly and warm and cozy, and I do.
yeah, I do.
Um,
Yeah, no, 100%.
so so I need to get myself out of there. And then on top of that, the doc, because like I said, sleep problems, the doctor's like, bed is for sleeping only, don't be reading or whatever in there. And I'm like, well, the reading thing is no, because I'm going to read in bed if I want to. But I don't watch TV, I don't do any of that, and I try to sleep. But I have brain weasels that go when I go to bed.
Yeah, it's hard to turn off. And like you know, kind of what you're segueing into sleep hygiene is really important, I think, because I can't do 5 in the morning if I'm going to bed after 9 at night. I mean, so the other side of it is I have to close my day down what feels very early because I used to be a midnight or later kind of go to bed person. But if I want to get up at 5 when the house is quiet, when I know I have that slice of time, I've had to switch my hours going the other way. And, you know, I just started that, oh, a few months ago, and it is working. And the more I do it and remind myself why it's worth it, and it is because I do get words written, then I can keep at it. I think if I were doing it and no words were happening and I was just tired and grumpy and all that stuff, then it would be time to make a new plan, you know?
Yeah, for me, I still stay up late. I some days go as late as 1 or 1:30, and the only reason is I'm not tired enough to go to sleep. And if I get into bed, then my brain doesn't shut down. So my feeling is, why go there and toss and turn awake? Why not wait till I go to bed? Now, that's not what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to have a regular bedtime, go to bed at the same time, and get used to it. And that didn't work. And I was getting really annoyed with the brain weasels keeping up, right? And so I'm trying to figure that out too. Doing different things, trying different things to do. I read about this one thing that's like, one way to shut your brain down is to think of a word of at least 4 letters, right? So say the word is road, and then you have to think of a word, and you do this while you're going to sleep. Then you think of a word for each letter in road. So an R word, an O word, an A word, a D word. And at the D word, you take that, say it's danger, and then you find a word for each of the letters there, and you just keep doing it and starting with the N letter of the last word. I tried that. I love words. That keeps me up. I'm entertained.
Puzzles all night.
It didn't work, and I guess it works for people. It just doesn't seem to do the trick for me. I mean, I've tried all different kinds of things. You know, that thing where you tighten your muscles and relax slowly, head down, or one muscle group at a time. Oh, so many things, and so
Mm-mm.
far nothing.
Well, I want to go back to that part where you had said back at the beginning that a friend talked about doing basically what you and I call admin stuff, which is administrative work that you do when you're an indie writer, which is maybe like formatting a newsletter or putting out a post on a social media. Like, I mean, you want to do these things, but also they aren't writing things or contacting an artist about a cover, or honestly, even for me, sometimes like working on the back cover blurb, like it's writing,
Yeah.
but it's not writing the story writing.
And it can mean working on your website. It can mean sending fan emails. It can mean working on your Patreon because we both have Patreons. It can mean making social media posts. There is so much very different things that are on the outside of writing, but are necessary to the career
Right.
that we
And
have to do.
like you, if I start on that during the day, that's all I want to do all day because I have this thing where if I get admin thing done, I'm like, oh, look at that. I got it done. That's so great. I'm gonna go do another one. And then I get another one done. And I'm like, look at that. I did two things. That's so great. Whereas with writing, you know, a book isn't done until you're, you know, 50, however many, 45, 50, 60, 80, 100, 200,000 words into this
Yeah.
sucker. So that quick, you know, delightful finishing something will really drive me to continue doing that work. And it's a different mental state than the writing state, which is a lot more, you know, kind of diving into that creative emotional well to really create, or at least for me. So, admin stuff is almost like alluring to me. Like I wouldn't rather do it than writing, but it feels easier in some ways than writing. And so it's like
It's
easy
for
to
me.
slide into it and not slide out.
I think it's definitely easier because I think it's because ego wise, not so much as writing on it, and you're not sitting there going, "Am I any good? Is this any good? Should I have changed that word? This word is that a good sentence? Whatever." It's just all that constant. Oh, uh, what's it called when you doubt yourself all the time?
Self-doubt?
It's not doubt, but there's a word for it. That's just totally escaping me because I apparently don't work with words enough, and I'm
Not
just,
today. Not right
huh?
now. Yeah, not at the moment.
Fraud.
You'll get it
What's the
tonight
word?
when you're
Fraud.
thinking of
Some fraud.
words.
It's
What?
some fraud.
Oh, what is
You know
it?
what I mean? It's something fraud.
Oh, Schadenfreude? Schadenfreude?
Fraud. No, fraud. As in, like, I'm a fraud.
Oh,
Um,
fraud.
yeah, it's that feeling of being a fraud.
Oh, you mean being in, oh, now you've got me doing it.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Oh man, it's like
Okay,
imposter syndrome.
imposter. Yeah, that's
I
and
win,
she
one
gets the
point.
point. So that imposter syndrome just weighs heavily on you a lot of the time when you're writing, right?
Yep.
It doesn't when you're doing the administrative stuff. Okay, so sometimes it does because sometimes you're like, do any of my readers really want to hear from me or something like that?
Right.
But when you're just doing tasks, it's easier. But
Mhm.
they're both of them have a particular problem for me, right? There is, yes, you can check off tasks on the administrative side faster than you can do it on the writing side. But for me, it's like cleaning your kitchen and it's instantly dirty again.
Mm.
And it's like it just doesn't end. And so neither side really ends. Even when I get to the end of a book, for me, it doesn't feel like there's an ending. It just feels like I got to get going on the next thing, right? Which is not good. We'll talk about that sometime. I think that's a good thing to talk about. But so this feeling like when I'm writing, I'm like, okay, I got this amount of words. I should get a little more. I should. I'm behind. I should get a little more. And so I keep pushing. Well, I do the same thing with the administrative stuff. And I keep going,
Yeah.
oh, I should be doing more of that. And so finding balance and then finding a way to turn off or to give myself permission to walk away is often really hard.
Right, because if you I found that if I push too hard, like I've done the midnight burn or the you're up against a hard deadline and you've got no choice but to, work 24 hours straight or something. I'm just not built for that. That doesn't excite me. It doesn't get me all, going in and really working hard. I kind of hate it. So, but to know when to stop, which is something we should know about this video too, when to stop. To know when to stop is really hard to say because you've got an idea for when the book needs to come out, you have an idea for when it needs to be done, but when you're breaking that into daily sections or weekly or hourly, it's hard to know how much do I need to do to get where I want to go without burning myself out along the way, right? And there's
And
ways to
and on
to
top of
try to
that, there's
measure it.
you've got the baby. So on top of that, you've got things like um, you can't put as much time in anymore. And so you have to think about you make these deadlines, which you hit, which I'm impressed by because
I
I've
don't
been blowing
always,
through it.
but some of them I do, but not always.
Lately I've been blowing through mine because of all kinds of stuff. But you managed to do it, but you tend to be very disciplined
I
about doing it because
You
I
know
think
what it is? It looks like discipline, but you know what it is? I'm just so freaking stubborn about it. I'm like, I'm not going to let anything in life I mean, I love my grandkid 100%. Like I would give up everything for her, honestly. But that being said, I don't have to give up everything for her. And I refuse to let anything in my life keep me from doing the thing that I want to do with my career, which is write books. So I'm really like determined is more what I am than disciplined. The discipline just becomes I'm so stubborn about wanting to get it done. I find a way to get it done. It isn't like, oh, I'll do this from then to then and it'll happen. Not that disciplined. I'm just like, this is the hour I have. Let's get as much done as we can, right? And I don't always get as much done as I can, but I'm there and I'm doing it as stubbornly as possible. I'm stubborn about it.
It strikes me that stubborn should be a Clifton strength somewhere.
It's one of mine, man. I dig my heels in on certain things, and writing is one of the things that I dig my heels in because it's something that I really love and I really want to give to the world. And to make that happen, that's on me. And so I am stubborn about making that happen.
I need to find more of that and
Come
that
be stubborn
mindset.
with me.
Yeah, well, it's the mindset, because for me, I get stubborn about things like, okay, I'm gonna just push through this because once that's through, I'll be able to get to the other side or whatever. But often that stuff is just brain melting crap that I have to do, and I can't not do it because it's stuff I have to do. But when it comes to my writing, I haven't been protecting the work. I haven't been prioritizing it as much because it's been like, okay, it'll still be there tomorrow, and there's no deadline and stuff like that. But I need to start telling myself, no, your stuff matters. Be
You
stubborn
come,
about your stuff. Be stubborn.
you,
Feel guilty, not because you didn't get on this stuff in a timely fashion that other people want you to do, but feel guilty when you don't do your stuff. Be selfish. That's one thing that's hard, I think, for both of us is being
yeah.
selfish in the sense of, yeah, we deserve to have the time. We deserve to focus on ourselves.
Yeah, and I don't love that word selfish. I know it's not a negative word, but it's like
Well,
we
it's
all
used
get
negatively
have
a lot.
one life to live, and we deserve, each of us deserves to live our life and do the things that we most want to put as our priorities. Put those priorities there. And it means saying no to some other things, but it means saying yes to yourself and maybe your dreams or the desire or your goals or your creativity or whatever it is, the thing you're contributing to this world. You've got to say yes, or you're contributing to yourself. You've got to say yes to those things because there's always something else that needs to be done.
That's
There's
right.
always some other need somewhere, but you have to put yourself in those top priorities somewhere. I mean, you can put yourself second if you want, but don't put, well, you probably shouldn't. You put yourself first, but don't put yourself 10th. Like, you need
Well,
to have,
even second, it we have a tendency, especially women, but we have a tendency to put others first. And it for me, I know it's a personality trait. I think for you, it's a personality trait. We're natural caretakers, nurturers, and stuff like that. And so we have this feeling that we need to put other people first, make sure they're okay, make sure they're on their way, make sure whatever. And I think that it's hard to say, you know what? You can take care of yourself. I don't have to do that. I will be here if you need me, but why don't you, instead of stepping in before time, which is I think something I do, or just say, okay, I'm not going to jump in and try to fix your problem just because it's hard for you. I think that you should be working on fixing your problem. And if you need help, you call on me, type of thing. And
yeah.
it's a habit that's hard to break.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're a mom and if, or, a spouse or, a child working with a parent or elder care, something like that. It's hard, right? But you're right. Like each of us get to kind of solve our own problems and then reach out for help when we need it, right? That's even with our writing lives, we try to solve as much as we can as we go along. And then if we hit a problem, like if I have a back cover blurb that I think I really need some eyes on it, I'm going to give it to you, Diana, and you're going to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
hey, this is what I think might help. But I'm going to start writing it first. I'm not going to ask you to jump in and do that. So that kind of applies everywhere. Like give everybody the chance to learn how to solve the problem, and then you can be there as a just help on the side. And it's such a great stance, I think, to take, because honestly half the time I don't think people really want my help. They don't need me jumping in. They don't need me to jump in. I can just hang tight, and if I'm needed they know where I am. So
Well, and sometimes they just want to whine or vent, and
and
they
that's a
don't
whole nother
they're
thing,
not
right? You
asking,
always
right?
always have some time for whining.
Maybe they don't actually want you to step in, or maybe they hope you will, but don't want to ask. And then in which case you've got to say,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
something
so
you could
but it's
deal with.
about making writing important if it's important to you, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah, it is. And that's the thing. It's a it's a career we've had for a long time. I mean, I started publishing novels, I think in 2003. When was your first novel?
My first novel came out in 2008.
Okay.
I was doing short fiction
Yeah,
before that.
I did a little short fiction before that, but not a lot. I was working on my PhD before that, and so I did write a big long honkin' dissertation.
Yeah.
Um, but and I wrote a big long honkin' fantasy novel, not quite till the end. That was like 275,000 words. And it still didn't finish, but it helped me write my dissertation because I would go dissertation, I'm stuck. Novel, I'm stuck. Dissertation till I'm stuck. Back and forth and back and forth. So that worked out well. But but we've been doing this a while.
Hmm.
And we look back and we go, okay, so what have we done that we wanted to do? What do we still want to do? And now we look ahead, and both of us, you're a grandma. My kids are getting hopefully out of the. My son is out. My daughter is starting to be getting out more on her own and stuff like that. I'm hoping she'll launch at some point, but um, and then now it's like, okay, all of the stuff that we used to carry that was family and stuff like that, we can set down. But now, what are we going to pick up? And some of it, a major portion of it is the writing. Some of it is, okay, what other things can I do that make me happy and make me bring me joy into my life and stuff. And
Hmm.
and I think that's another thing you've been doing camping and I've been doing camping and stuff like that. And I think that also helps fill the well, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So did we stray off of our subject about how do we get started writing in the morning
Well,
far enough? Did we
yeah,
stray far enough, do you think?
we started with how we start our day, but a lot of why we start our day and what our goals are. I guess that comes down to some of the stuff that that we want to make this about, which is this the video stuff about is about talking through some of what we're doing. Maybe we might talk through about what exactly we're doing, like the nitty gritty of a story or something. Some of it might be how am I doing, keeping doing what I'm doing, and not letting some of the ankle biter stuff come in and chew and chew and chew and take away the time or the focus. I think the
Hmm.
focus is huge.
No, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's all the things of like how do we plan what we want to do next and why are we making those choices and where is the market at now? There will be wiser minds than us on that, but we can say what we've seen from our corner of the writing world, where the market's at, and even just going into self-pub or indie publication since 2013, I think is when I started, somewhere right around there, 2013, 2015. I have to look that up. Things have changed. My goodness, things have changed.
Huge.
So, there's a lot of things that we can go over where things are at now. And yeah, I think we have a lot of things that we can talk about. We would certainly love if anybody wanted to give us suggestions of what they want to hear from us. We would absolutely take a look at those and see if we could add those in.
And we've kind of said this to writers, but readers, we want our readers here to have a peek behind what we do and how we do it. And if you want to ask questions about our books or characters or worlds or how we go about doing things,
If you want
we'd
to ask
love
us,
that.
why aren't we writing that one book? That seems to be what I always get. It's like, there's only so much time.
We are not not Gardner, what's his name of George R. R. Martin. We are not George R. R. Martin, where we have a book of that's just been dangling out there. Of course, I kind of do, but
I can't imagine. I mean, I would feel so guilty. Like I would have to get something out. But I mean, he doesn't have to, but I would feel so guilty to the readers.
well, my Crosspoint books have been kind of languishing there, and there's been a reason because I've started writing the next books more than once, and I have not been able. It's like
I get you.
books set up larger and larger situations, and I'm
Yep.
here with this big situation, and I can't close it off in one book. But when I started thinking about how to break it up into smaller books or smaller pieces, not necessarily smaller books, but into pieces so that I could write multiple books toward that end, I still haven't. figured out how I want to do that. Although I just reread the fourth book, which is getting re-released, and I just did the copy edit for it. And I did have some ideas based on some of the things we've been talking about in for terms of plotting and things. And so
Nice.
that's one of the things I may talk about here.
Good, good. I like it. I think I as we have just shown, we can pretty much endlessly talk about writing and writing life and both the practical stuff like get up, maybe don't check your social media before you start writing in the morning. That's a good piece of advice to try, especially if you like to see a lot of different social media sites or you do a lot of doom scrolling or something. Don't let something knock your mood off, so that when you get up you just dive right into the book. So practical stuff we can definitely cover, kind of some of the emotional side that goes with it. And then, just some of the creative ways that we approach things. So I think we've got a lot to cover here.
Oh
We got
yeah, and
got
and another one is as the next 4 years happen, and the news is always going to be, uh,
grim.
well, I'm going to say inflamed in a lot of ways. Remember, this is what I've been telling myself for a couple of months now. The news is to be checked, not watched. So you can check it once a week, once a day if you have to, but you don't have to read past the headlines. You don't have to read deep into anything you don't want to. Um, so don't doom scroll on that stuff. Just let it go. Find
Come
something
watch
else to
us.
read.
We'll put up
Watch
videos. Come watch
us.
us.
Watch us. Yeah, silly. We will be watchable.
We'll have a good time. We will definitely have a good time. Okay, so I think we probably covered what we were trying to say, which is what do we do when we first get up and start writing? You are chai and play with puppies and then get into the manuscript. And I'm
Yep.
coffee, manuscript, a little bit of social media, and then back to manuscript.
Yep.
And yeah, and we've that's changed over the years, but right now that's what's
Well,
working for us.
and one of the things we often do is check in with each other first thing, right? We have
Yeah,
a Discord that we pop in and go, how's your morning going? You writing? Let's write. Let's sometimes we sprint and things like that. But that's another thing that we both do is kind of check in with each other.
it helps. It makes a difference to know that somebody else is out there in the word mines. It
And it's
helps.
motivational for sure for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it. That's our first. I'm not sure how long we went. I'm assuming we went for some time. There's
Yeah.
probably a ticker on here somewhere we'll
I
figure that
haven't
out
found it.
as
I'm
we
still
go.
trying to figure out where things are on this thing.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you for stopping by. Comments down below if you want to ask us any questions. We will somehow put up a link to our books. I'm not sure if it'll be on this video, but we will definitely make sure that that's up in case people are curious to check us out. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a great, I don't know when we're going to get to this again, week, great
Yeah,
month. I
we're
don't know.
we're we're shooting to make sure we're once a month for sure, and we might do a little more often than that. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, we're not sure yet. So let us know how often you want to see us ramble. And until then, happy reading, people.
Yes, happy
Enjoy
reading
the
and
books.
have a pick a great book and just turn off the TV, turn off the noise, and just spend some time in their book.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.